Hi, I'm Lyle Johnson, and I'm going to be the moderator this evening for the Candidates Political Forum. I'm very pleased to have that opportunity, and I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the traditional lands referred to as Treaty 4 territory, and that the city of Moose Jaw is located on Treaty 4 territory. The original lands of the Cree, Ojibwa, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and the homeland of the Métis. Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce and the Moose Jaw Kinsmen Club are nonpartisan organizations and will remain neutral and they do not endorse any particular candidate. Rules. Each candidate was given a maximum of 3 minutes to introduce themselves, and this will be timed. They will be advised when they have 30 seconds left, and if necessary, a ringing of a bell. Each candidate will be requested to respond to predetermined questions that have been shipped to them. Questions will be accepted on the online chat by way of the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce, live Facebook feed, the live YouTube channel, and through text line. Please note that not all questions on the chat may be answered, because we just ask that all the questions be respectful, and the moderator will ask them to the candidates. Candidates will have a maximum of 2 minutes to reply to any questions that will be timed. Please be respectful to all concerned, and remember, due to time constraints, please keep to the scheduled times. Our first group of candidates includes Doug Blanc, Joni Brisbane, Jody Schell, Heather Eby, and Crystal Froese. Good evening and welcome. We're going to be going alphabetically, just for the sake of doing stuff. So, Doug Blanc, you get to start first.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you to the Moose Jaw Kinsmen Club and the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum, and also thank you to Lyle Johnson for moderating it. He's done a fabulous job over the last number of years doing this, and certainly thanks to all the citizens who are watching and proposed questions. I'm running for City Council. I had a fresh perspective City Council and a voice for the citizens of Moose Jaw. People should be there to represent all citizens of Moose Jaw. And no matter which part of the city status is or what your approach, we need better communication between city administration and city council. City council doesn't need to micromanage, but they should know what is happening within city administration. But we also need better communication between city council and the citizens of Moose Jaw. The next few years could be a very different environment financially for the city. Financial analysis predicted a number of businesses may not survive over the next few years, which will eliminate some jobs. This will have a negative effect on the city's finances. We need to ensure that we're doing everything to spend our tax dollars correctly. We need to work to try to, within our budget, so that we don't have a huge increase in taxes to citizens and business. We also need to change our bureaucracy and bylaws to allow businesses to start without the current red tape. I hear stories of businesses who come in and they try to get business license and all our red tape. And after long periods of time, they get frustrated and they leave. Yes, we need some rules and we certainly need guidelines, but they shouldn't be so restrictive that people get frustrated and drive away. What happens with businesses that are currently in the city trying to get permits to do work jobs? I've heard of horror stories where they're waiting months for some little things. I also hear stories of people trying to get building permits to upgrade their homes. And we need to make this easier for everybody, the citizen and the business. We also need to continue with our repair to the infrastructure. We started on the cast iron, our water, our sidewalks, and road repair, just to mention a few. But we need to continue this. We need to also look into the future. We're going to have a couple of issues come up in the next few years that are going to require some money and some resources. Examples are those newer swimming pools. In the next few years, it's going to require some major repairs or replacement. We also have a school being built in the southwest corner. And we should be looking at other accesses to South Hill. The Thunderbird Viaduct or 4th Avenue is currently under a review. Some emergency vehicles can't even go over that property right now. So we need to look at this. because if Main Street South, the subway, and 9th Avenue West are closed.
Okay, Doug, I'm
repairs
sorry,
or
that's
any other
your
reason,
3 minutes, Doug. Thank you. And that's the 3-minute warning, okay? Thanks very much. Next, we move to Jody Brisbane. Jody, go ahead.
Evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Joni Brisbane. My family and I have lived in Moose Jaw for the past 25 years, and we had the privilege of raising our daughters here and creating roots. Sorry, I'm a professional engineering technologist, a technical educator, board member, community volunteer, and now a private business owner as well. I have an extensive background in project management, working with regulatory and government agencies, creating policies and strategic plans, infrastructure design and operation, and have built many relationships within the government, cities, communities, and industries. I believe that these experiences, my networks, and my skills would be of benefit to Council and the City of Moose Jaw, Canada's most notorious city, going forward. I am passionate about affecting positive change through collaboration and negotiation while adhering to the principles of governance. My commitment is and always has been to do what is best for the community, our families, and to ensure everyone is valued and heard. I believe we can grow towards tomorrow by building extensive relationships, valuing diverse backgrounds and perspectives, and working together. I would like to see the incoming council and mayor, whoever that may be, continue to build on the strategic plan that was completed in 2019. It is quite the document, and I believe a great platform. There has been great momentum started on addressing infrastructure deficiencies and defects, promotion of our businesses, the building of relationships both within the city, intercity, and with the provincial government. This growth has been positive and is a great platform for the incoming council to continue to work from and expand upon. Going forward, I would like to expand economic development opportunities, which would grow the beautiful city of Moose Jaw, and in turn expand opportunities for jobs. The expansion of the tax base through business development and the jobs created from new businesses would address issues of unemployment, support the expansion or continuation of public services, be available to continue the infrastructure replacement that is so required, as well as create funds to be used to address social issues within the city, such as homelessness, food insecurity, and so many other social issues that are coming to light. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to share our platforms, and please be aware I will always be responsible, and make financially sound and environmentally sustainable decisions based on the facts in adherence with the bylaws, regulations, and policies. Good luck to everyone that has put forward their names for the boards and city council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, and our next candidate is Heather Eby. Heather? I'm sorry, Jody Shell. My mistake. I'm alphabetically challenged tonight. So, Jody Shell, please go ahead.
Heather could have went first. That would have
You
been
got to
fun.
unmute, Jody. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. First, just like Doug had mentioned, I want to thank all the organizations that put this forum together tonight. We're in weird times right now with the pandemic, and I understand and acknowledge how much work is put in the background to have something like this for the candidates to speak out to the residents and let our platforms be heard. So I appreciate all the work that's being put in the background. And Heather, I know you've put a lot in the background too at the chamber. So thank you very much. Lyle, thank you for moderating this. I know it can be a tough job, and thank you to all the candidates for participating. It's hard sometimes when we're in unknown territory, so I appreciate that. A little bit about myself. My name is Jody Chell. I'm a longtime resident of Moose Jaw. I've been here approximately 36 years. I'm a single mom of an 18-year-old daughter who is currently attending the University of Guelph online in her room as we speak. She's, again, someone that's going through uncharted territories with the pandemic. I'm an occupational health and safety practitioner as my profession and my full-time job. So I deal a lot with workplace safety, harassment and bullying, and I'm very knowledgeable and competent in a lot of the acts and regulations when it comes to workplace safety. Well, I've been asked many times why I decided to run for council, and this year has brought a lot to the forefront when it comes to our residents. I got to be a part of some amazing positive things that happened during the pandemic, some of it being the birthday parades through Facebook groups that we were all reaching out to find a positive. And within that, I realized that our residents are what make Moose Jaw strong. So in that, with my research in the past couple of weeks, I've also realized that we have some major deficiencies when it comes to our social justice issues, some of it being homelessness and food insecurities, lack of transit for people with disabilities, the Métis Association. And I feel that a lot of those organizations need to be represented in City Council. Although I am positive and I believe that development and economics are very important for a thriving community and city, you'll find that a lot of my platform is based on social issues. And the reason why is I feel that we cannot grow as a city unless we have happy residents. And we have enough residents here under a large percentage that don't make a lot of money, that we need to focus on our residents first, and let's make sure everybody's happy here first. And so you'll find that that is one big thing that my platform runs on, is a lot of social justice. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jody. And now, this time for sure, for real, Heather Eby.
Thank you. During the week that all the candidates were announcing their intentions for this election, my daughter actually eventually asked me, Mom, why is everybody saying the same thing and using the same words? She's like, I don't get it. And I thought, well, that's a really good question. So she was hearing words like vision, fiscal responsibility, economic development, progressive policy, transparency. And she was hearing these words over and over again. And I thought, these are really just buzzwords and jargon that oftentimes don't mean a whole lot. So I'm going to try to talk tonight without using any of those buzzwords or jargon. The water distribution system in our city has been in a state of disrepair for many years, and that is not a surprise to anyone. Fortunately, in 2016, the council of the day, of which I was a part, was finally able to get the cast iron water main replacement program underway and approved. That was a huge issue in the election 4 years ago. And for me, it has not lost its place of priority. There are only 2 people on this year's ballot who were there for the long, hard work of getting that project in the budget and in the ground. And when we get into next council, when I'm there, I promise that I will not allow that project or the importance of it to be forgotten. I feel like there's going to be almost a whole new group of people. And as we try to bounce back from the pandemic, there's going to be some really hard budget decisions to be made. And as a member of council, I will ensure that there is no temptation to erode that funding for cast iron or to dial it back, because it's important that it stays that way. People are going to get sick of hearing me talk about cast iron, but I will not let it be overshadowed or overlooked. The project gives us not only new water distribution, but new roads and new sidewalk, new concrete in every phase. It is the way to build neighborhoods back up from the ground up. I'm also very committed to supporting the Moose Jaw Police Service in its quest to make Moose Jaw the safest place we can possibly have it be. The world has changed, our city has changed, and not always for the better. We've got drugs, gangs, crime, and these issues have been emerging over the years. We have been able to put officers in place to deal with those issues and their fallout. However, there is one other very disturbing piece of the New World puzzle that has me more passionate than ever in supporting police service, and that is the rising issue of child abuse and child exploitation right here in our city. I will support the chief as he has a goal to increase investigations and the pursuit of pedophiles and perpetrators in this ever-increasing problem in our city. If there was ever a way to make Moose Jaw a zero-tolerance community in the exploitation and abuse of children, I would say let's do that. So I want to thank everyone for their support in the past.
Okay, Thank you, Heather. Heather, can you take your camera and adjust it slightly to your right? Because we're only getting that's better. A little bit more. A little bit more. Good. Thank you. That gets you centered on there. We can see you well. And our final candidate in the first round is Crystal Froese.
Great. Thank you, Mr. J. And thank you to the Moose Jaw Kinsmen and for the Moose Jaw Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum this evening. I'm here tonight because I want to continue to represent you on City Council. My family has deep roots in this community. My mom, Sandra Shires, worked at the hospital for 20 years and ran the River Park Campground in Waccamaw with my dad. Many of you know my mother-in-law, Kathleen Froese, and remember my late father-in-law, Gus, whose murals are a continuous reminder of his love of our city. My experience includes over 15 years consulting in communications and marketing with my own business. My education is from the University of Regina in local government authority, which focuses on municipal finance and legislation. 4 years ago, I put my name forward to be your city councillor because I believed we needed a city that works. Over this time, I have worked hard bringing and supporting motions to council that strengthen our community to serve our citizens better. From providing funding for both seniors associations to gaining the provincial government's attention on the unequal funding of our police and getting a police and crisis team here in Moose Jaw, I have worked hard to make changes and bring your concerns to the council table. The last 4 years, we have been managing the largest infrastructure renewal the city has undergone in over 100 years, but there is still more infrastructure to tackle. Bridges and landfill, and we need to do this while continuing to balance parks and culture and recreation and all those things that we love about our city. Today, we all find ourselves facing the serious challenges of the COVID pandemic. I have heard from the groups on their struggles to fundraise. I hear from families across our city about their worries. And I have listened to the challenges the businesses are facing during the Moose Jaw Chamber of Commerce meetings. This next city budget is so very important. We need to be vigilant and live within our means this next year and do what we can to try to alleviate stress locally. We must continue to pursue economic opportunities and work in collaboration with our provincial government to access funding opportunities for our city. And the SAS Power Plant is a great example of successfully pursuing projects. This will bring jobs and economic stimulus for our city in a time when we really need it. My husband and I started a cheese manufacturing facility, Cotto Hills Creamery, located near the new hospital. We are invested in Moose Jaw and want to grow our business and create jobs. A city that works is a city that listens and reflects on the values of those we serve. We must have a city that works for us and on behalf of us. It would be a privilege to continue to serve and work for you as your city councillor. So on election day, I ask for your vote for city council, and I thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. And thank you for doing a really good job of introducing yourselves. Now, the Moose Jaw Kinsmen Club, when they were organizing this, submitted a list of questions to you to be answered. And you're each going to be given 2 minutes to respond to this. And that's so I'm going to we're going to go in reverse order of response to try and be equitable about how we approach people. So Crystal, you're going to be first to respond to those questions. And your 2 minutes begin now.
Read the question.
The question is, with the struggles we have seen within our community during the pandemic, what would your roadmap to recovery plans for the city of Moose Jaw be? Again, with the struggles we have seen within our own community during the pandemic, what would be your roadmap to recovery or to a recovery plan for the city of Moose Jaw?
Thank you, Lyle, and thank you for that question, because I think it's probably the one of the most important right now. As I said, this next year, as we go into budget, is very, very important. And I really believe that if I was elected, I would bring forward a zero increase in taxes and a zero increase in utilities. I think we really need to alleviate stress locally. And as a city councillor, that is what we are able to do. We also need to work really strongly with our provincial government. We know from all of their campaign promises that they are putting in a lot of money into our province and a lot of projects. So we need to be shovel ready, and we need to have good collaboration and strong communication with them in order to access that funding, hoping that maybe some of that will apply to the infrastructure that we need. So those are the kind of the two things I see. We definitely have to alleviate the stress locally by sticking to a zero increase in taxes and a zero increase in utilities as we go through this in this next year. Thanks, Mr. J.
You're welcome. Heather, you're the next person to go.
Okay, thanks. Just to let you know, it is really staticky for me,
Okay.
so I kind of.
Okay, do you want me to repeat it for you? Okay.
Right.
With the struggles we have seen within our community during the pandemic, what would be your roadmap to a recovery plan for the city of Moose Jaw?
Okay, thank you, Lyle. Well, I think that as we go forward, the roadmap is going to be new because, of course, none of us have ever done this before. But I do really believe that our budget in 2021 and 22 and probably 23 and 24 are going to be very difficult budgets. And as easy it would be to say that we have to hold the line on taxes and keep them at zero. I'm not sure that that's going to be possible to stay at zero, but hopefully we can stay as low as possible. But I don't think this would be the time to start cutting back on infrastructure projects. Like I said in my speech, cast iron water main replacement, that needs to keep going. We can't cut that back because that doesn't help anybody in the future. But if we can hold the line on taxes and utility rates as best as we can to help out the families in Moose Jaw, that would be key. I also think that we really do need to keep chasing after new business and industry. And I really believe that the beginning of the Saskatchewan power plant is going to be huge for our city. That will bring great, lots of jobs and lots of activity in the community, which will help us to move forward through the recovery from the pandemic. So I just think that we need to hold the line, but I cannot say I would, that we're going to be able to keep everything at zero, because I know that as much as people want 0% increases in taxes and utilities, they also still want all the services that they know and love, and those still have to be accounted for in our budget. So perhaps we would not be able to have any new spending, but I think we need to keep the things in. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jody Chell, you're the next person to respond. Do you want me to repeat the question, or are you okay?
It's on the screen.
Unfortunately, I don't have the list of questions.
No, I have it in my hand. They gave it to me.
Okay.
So, with the struggles,
It's on the screen.
it's on the screen. Okay, if you look below at below your picture, they'll see that the question is actually there. If you want to follow that, does that help?
I don't
Okay.
see it,
Okay.
but
No.
let's just
With the
wing it.
struggles we have seen within our own community during the pandemic, what would be your roadmap to recovery for the city of Moose Jaw?
There's one thing that I've said during this pandemic, and it's coming to be true now, is I don't think that we need to come up with a roadmap for recovery once the pandemic is over. I think that the pandemic is going to be here longer than a lot of people think. So instead of looking what we're going to do when it's done, I think we need to come up with a roadmap of how we get through our new norms right now. Without being able to look deep into the budgets, I don't know how this is going to work with our recovery. Our businesses are struggling, our residents are struggling. So I don't know how to answer that without being able to see the budgets and see what can be reduced. I think that city planning for our construction, for our sidewalks, I think that there can be cuts with that, and our money can be managed better. But I don't see this pandemic coming to an end anytime soon. And right now I would be more focused on how we're just going to get through our new norm.
Thank you, Jody. Just as a note, some of the people who are going to be in the next session are actually trying to log in, and just if they will be patient, when these 5 candidates are done, they will log out, and then you'll be able to log back in. So don't get overly frustrated that you can't get in right now, because we told you to come in 50 minutes early, but there's just too many people in right now. So anyway, back to our list, Joni Brisbane.
Interesting question, and I think everybody has touched on some of the same points as we all would consider. This question has been posed before, so the answer is we don't know what we don't know, but obviously we have to take into consideration the current budgets, and Crystal and Heather have both spoken to what those budgets look like, and they're obviously very well versed in what those budgets are. Towing the line on increased spending may or may not be the answer, but that is a collaborative agreement that we'd have to look at. But there's federal stimulus packages out there, and they continue to grow through business development and growth. I think we can start to move forward and navigate the new norm, as Jody alluded to. We don't know what it looks like, but through business growth and economic development, we can then start to build the funds back up, look at our taxes. As Heather said, nobody knows if we will be increasing or need to increase. It's something that would have to be discussed. Tap into the federal grants, the provincial grants, work with our provincial government that had their pandemic roadmap as part of their platform, and deliver through that. So develop brainstorming, crowdsourcing, come up with the ideas to keep moving forward, but we can't stop. We cannot just build on increased taxes. It has to be a plan that incorporates everything and brings everybody forward.
Thanks,
and
Joni.
is progressive
Doug,
for the city.
Last round of the question. Over to you.
I agree with some of the other comments that have been made. I don't think this pandemic is going to be over in the next 6 months or a year. I think this will go on for a period of time. We certainly have to look at our budgets. We have to look at every penny we have and spend it extremely wisely, because I don't think the taxpayers in Moose Jaw go for a huge tax increase. We just can't do it. According to stats in Saskatchewan, 85% of the businesses, what's classified as small businesses, they have 50 employees or less. We have to ensure that those businesses stay working in Moose Jaw, because that is our tax base. Not only the businesses, but certainly the people that work for them. We also have to work with the provincial government, the federal government, and any resource we can to help, to assist us in whatever we need to do. But the final part in that is we have to work with our health agency, so that if there's recommendations they can make, whether it be, there's a big debate on social media about masks, no masks, whatnot, but whatever we can do as city council to ensure that our city is healthy and doesn't, isn't swollen with a whole bunch of COVID, it certainly makes it better. Makes it a better environment, makes people happier, it makes them stay at work. So there's a whole variety of things, right from our budget to utilizing everything available to us to our health system.
Okay, we have one question submitted that we're almost at the end of our time, so I'm going to be really quick about this. And Doug, you're going to be up first. Mr. Blank has touched on the tedious red tape in order to get a business license in Moose Jaw. 2 women have finally decided to wave the white flag and have given up the fight with City Hall after numerous ridiculous requirements and serious expenditures, having resulted in them walking away from their dream. We've attempted to make contact with councillors, and only one to date has shown any interest to assist, albeit now at the 11th hour. What will the candidates do to assist or streamline this process? I'm only going to give you 1 minute, I'm sorry, but each. So, Doug?
Okay, thank you. I've heard comments that city council and some of the city administration don't respond to citizens. I will be very honest, I don't know how many emails they get. I don't know how many phone calls they get. I'm sure depending on what the issue is, it could be hundreds. But at some point, the citizens should be responded to. The other thing is, I believe city council, and I think some of them have done it, they've actually walked out to the areas and looked at areas that the people have had an issue with. A good example, a week ago, there was a lady working about trying to rebuild her house. City council should have looked at that first, been there to look at the situation so that they're aware of what is happening.
Thank you, Doug. Joni.
I don't know if you cut me off or what.
Yeah.
So, Rick, great question. Obviously not totally aware of how the system works, something that would have to be reviewed and analyzed, and so we can make some decisions. But I have heard from other people is a tedious process. So that is a point for City Council to review those processes as we are given the privilege or the responsibility of putting in place policies and procedures that allow us to work within our city and to grow our city. So that would have to be reviewed, and we don't want to put in place any blockages that stop people from building their dreams and starting businesses in with Moose Jaw. So that would be a collaborative point for council to work on.
Thank you. Jody.
This is a great question. I spoke of this yesterday. I actually know a few entrepreneurs whose dream was to start businesses here, whether they started as small businesses who are now on TV shows like Dragon's Den, and the red tape disallowed them to just hang their shingle in Moose Jaw. So there definitely is some red tape that goes on in the background. And I do believe that it deters a lot of businesses from starting here. It's also expensive for these young entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much. Heather. Heather EB is next.
I can't hear you.
Are you muted? Sorry, Heather, are you muted? We're not hearing you, so check your mic, please, Heather. We'll start the time when we hear you, so don't worry about that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Okay, good. That's fine.
But I think I know what the question is from the answers, so I will go ahead. I believe
Thank you.
It's about business processes. So I know the issue that's being talked about, and I have been in contact with that business owner a lot and have not been able to help her as much as I would like to have. And I think what we need to do at City Hall is do a better job of letting potential business owners know that there are systems and processes that need to go through before they start a business. Because I think what happens, and this has happened to me personally, get excited, I'm going to start a business, go ahead, and you jump in with both feet, and then you go to City Hall and say, hey, we're starting a business, I'm already 2 miles down the road, and then you have to go back and jump over some stumbling blocks that you didn't even know were there, and it's very frustrating. So I think we need to have almost like a dial before you dig communications program so that people can know what they need to do before they start. And if everyone knew about that, then if my friend's saying I'm going to start a business, I would say, hey, make sure you call City Hall first before you dig. So
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you, Heather. Crystal, you're up.
Thank you, and thank you, Rick, for that question. Rick actually came before the Heritage Advisory Committee looking for help on this issue, and I've spent a fair bit of time talking with him, as well as trying to source out other solutions for this business owner. And this is completely a learning curve for our processes in City Hall. We have to approach things as how can we help? And what more information can we provide for you to make sure you have everything you need when you walk out that door? Particularly for heritage buildings, we really need to do a much, much better job. And thank you, Rick, for the question that you brought forward. It has certainly put a spotlight on an area that we have to absolutely address and make better. I'm a huge business supporter. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And I want everybody's experience when they walk through City Hall's doors to be positive, and for our staff to have the resources to provide to make sure that new business owner gets off on the right foot.
And thank you. That concludes our session here. Doug, I just want to apologize for you for cutting off the last 10 seconds. I'm sure it was important, but I thought the bells were ringing in my head, if not in the screen. So my apologies to you for that. You can have 10 seconds, Doug, if you want. Okay.
Okay, I just want to say, city council should be realizing that they work for the citizens of Moose Jaw. They represent those citizens, and I think it'd be an honor to represent them, and I certainly encourage everyone to get out and vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your contribution tonight, being the first ones to go into this thing. We're learning as we go. Thank you all, and best of luck on voting night when it comes to selections for our council for next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
And you
Jay.
can sign off now.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
And we'll load the next group of people in. All right, so while we're waiting for those people to get loaded in, Group B, as it is, it should be logging in now. And as they do that, they will be able to, I got 2 there. This is good. I just want to go over again, just make sure you're kind to each other, make sure you listen to each other, and make sure you follow the guidelines, because you can, as you can tell, the time is tight. And so we have, right now we have, I don't see 2 people. Well, there's 4, and I need 1 more. All right, and there we are. There's our 5th one. Okay. First of all, I just want to welcome our candidates and know that they first will be able to speak for 3 minutes to introduce themselves. This will be timed. You'll hear a bell at 30 seconds left, and then a second bell at 1 minute left. And that's being operated by Heather over to my side here. So first person in Group B to talk tonight is Jamal James. And Jamal, you have 3 minutes starting now.
All right, I'd like to thank the Moose Jaw Kinsmen and the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce for putting this on. I'd also like to thank you, Lyle Johnson, for moderating this. Your hard work is appreciated year after year when you do this. One of the things that I love about municipal politics is the amount of choice that the voters have for the council. It's not an either-or decision. You get to pick 6 councillors and a mayor. If you have 6 different people that each represent different things that you want, then you don't have to compromise. So in saying that, I hope that you'll consider me for one of those 6 spots. As a lifelong resident of Moose Jaw, I've seen firsthand how great this city is when it's thriving. I know the potential that this city has, and I'm committed to doing my part to help it thrive. We've been through some tough times in recent years, having lost several major employers. Those losses have hurt our city. We've lost young people to other cities with better opportunities. We've lost good paying jobs that bolster our tax base. We have people who want to live here and work here. The city is affordable, has lots of hidden beauty, and it's a wonderful place to raise a family. We just have to make sure that it has good jobs for its people so they can take advantage of those things. This means continuing to make our infrastructure, transit, and other municipal services attractive to job creators and residents. It means liaising with our municipal workforce to find solutions to the challenges that they face. It means investing in our community to make sure that we employ people who live here and take pride in doing the job right the first time. It means listening to the needs of our emergency service workers to ensure that they have the proper funding and tools to be at their best. For our citizens, it means making smart decisions with the tax money that they give us. It means prioritizing the needs of the many over the wants of a few. We need to make sure that we get the absolute best value for the dollars that we spend. If our recycling contractor isn't keeping waste out of our landfill, then it means finding one that will, or creating jobs by finding a made in Moose Jaw solution to the problem. If the lack of parking is hurting our downtown core, then it means making our transit system a more attractive and affordable option and finding room for more parking. We have a great community with lots to offer, and we can make it better if we make smart choices and put in the work. If elected, I will do my absolute best to make decisions that will help Moose Jaw thrive and set us up for long-term success. As a citizen, it's in my best interest. So let me be your voice on November 9th.
Thank you, Jamal. Our second candidate today is Jamie Logan. Jamie, your 3 minutes begin now.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I'd like to start by saying thank you to the Moose Jaw Kinsmen and the Moose Jaw Chamber of Commerce. Also like to say good luck to all the candidates and thank you for putting your name forward for civic politics in Moose Jaw. It's no small undertaking, and no matter the outcome, I thank you for letting your name stand. My name is Jamie Logan. I'm an entrepreneur of 25 years who was born and raised in Moose Jaw. Together with my wife, Sherry, we raised our family in this great city. I'm honest, relatable, hardworking, open-minded, and dedicated. I have a business-minded, community-first, common sense approach, and feel that my experience with problem solving, conflict resolution, and business management will be beneficial as your city councillor. I'll work hard to find efficiencies and opportunities to help this city grow and prosper. I know the importance of listening to both sides on every issue, but at the same time, I'm willing to ask the difficult questions. I will support economic growth and business development with a focus on fiscal responsibility. I promise to work in a manner as transparent and open as possible so that together we will all have a hand in shaping this community and helping Moose Jaw prosper once again. The current council and administration have made great strides over the course of the last term, but there is more to do. The Phyllis Dewar Pool needs work, our infrastructure is aging, and sewer and water rates are forever escalating. Addressing these and many more issues in the middle of a pandemic is a daunting task and will be incredibly challenging to say the least. Saying that, I'm prepared to work with all levels of government with the best interests of all Moose Javians in mind. Understandably, the learning curve for new councillors is very, very steep, but that's a hill I'm ready to climb. My vision, long after the election is over, is to continue to door knock and listen to the people, hear their concerns and the concerns of their loved ones. I am super passionate about this city and look forward to representing all citizens of Moose Jaw if given the chance. I promise you I will not take this responsibility for granted. I am determined to earn your trust and respect. My door is always open, my glass is always half full, and my attitude is always upbeat. While my list of political triumphs might be short, I do believe the list of attributes as to why I'm a good candidate for the job is long. I ask you to please vote for me on November 9th.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you, Lyle.
All right. Next up is Trevor McPherson. Trevor, your 3 minutes begins now.
Thanks, Loyal. I'd like to thank everybody for putting this together, and good luck to all the candidates moving forward. My name is Trevor McPherson. I moved to Moose Jaw in 2019 to take over the vacancy of the head pro position at the Hillcrest Golf Club. I have strong moral values. I have high integrity. I have deep-rooted beliefs in social issues and prosperity for people inside the Moose Jaw community, as well as Saskatchewan. This province has moved forward in so many leaps and bounds, and that we promoted some form of staying at home, and I think Moose Jaw can tag on with that as well. Our infrastructure is a huge problem in the city, and we continue to move forward in that. I'd like to keep that moving forward, even in our difficult times. Economic growth is a big passion of mine. I have been involved with that before in other communities. Advancement, deferred practices, maintenance practices are also a key issue that needs to be dealt with. We need to keep that moving forward. If you vote me in, I'm basically a passionate person. I'm very humble. I'm honest to a fault. I won't tell you what you need to hear. I definitely will not tell you to get your vote, what you want to hear. I am open. Leadership is a courageous thing, and we have to put forth the right people to move forward in an economic growth way in Moose Jaw. The movement has to be backed by the community and for the community, and our tax dollars have to be accounted for, and we have to be fiscally responsible moving forward. Communication with the city employees, public service groups, public safety are huge concerns inside the community as well. When I was out pounding the pavement, a lot of things were brought up with public safety and how we're going to move forward and move forward through this new difficult time of the pandemic. And I know we need to change in the community. There's a lot of red tape at City Hall, and I think we need to start a communication base with the employees there and give them the right tools that we can move forward, to move past everything and organize this into a better progressive movement so that it's easy for everybody to get through and all of this stuff, like bureaucratic BS that goes on with both businesses. I talk to business owners and business developers on a daily basis, and the frustration is unbelievable. And change is scary. But change is not a bad thing if you inform, engage, and keep your people moving forward. We can move through all this and the change. Just keep everybody engaged and informed in it, and we'll progressively move forward. Like Jamie, I am not a politician. I am totally different from everybody else. I have never been definitely engaged in politics, but I definitely put my best foot forward. I'm there for everybody. I got an open door policy, always have been. I communicate well with people. I'm not afraid to take on the due diligence and moving forward in this. Unfortunately, we can't pick who we travel on the bus with. They all need to get along.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. And I have to apologize right off the bat to Dawn. I have my mouse has a cable to it here, and it's right over top of your name. I didn't see it. Alphabetically challenged, I will admit to. But our next candidate to be talking is Dawn Looning. So, Dawn, your 33 minutes starts now.
Thank you very much, Lyle. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
You can hear me? Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the virtual forum this evening, and thank you to the Kinsmen and the Chamber for organizing this. My name is Dawn Looning, and I'm an independent financial advisor in the city, and I'm respectfully asking for your support to be re-elected to City Council. The office of City Council requires the highest level of integrity and respect. It is not a privilege to be taken lightly. Citizens expect that a city councillor will listen to their needs and concerns and then follow up to get a resolution. Ultimately, it is the citizens' vote that affords the candidate the opportunity to speak for them in elected office. As such, a high level of professionalism should be inherent in your candidate's character to carry out these expectations in this leadership role. I believe I can bring those traits to the role of city councillor. Honesty, integrity, and experience sets me apart from other candidates. Moose Jaw needs strong leadership to move us through the next stages of this pandemic, to help our citizens and businesses tackle the uncertain times that may be ahead. The world is changing, and we need to adapt to new ways of doing business and new ways to build connections to each other and to build our community. Infrastructure should and will continue to be a priority if I'm reelected. Economic development should switch to focusing on our existing businesses and how the city can partner with them in creating a strong environment for them to thrive. City Hall should adjust processes to enable developments to not run into piles of red tape. And communication between citizens, administration, and city council should be more transparent and more frequent. City budgets should not expand or fatten government. Budgets should change with the times and shift process. Taxpayers, I believe, are okay with paying additional taxes only when they can see real value and shifts from the status quo. It is not okay when citizens see no change in services, yet are continually asked to dole out more in the way of taxes. In these challenging times, Moose Jaw is going to need experience on council and a positive and honest voice of reason to keep to the task at hand. My focus is simple: lead by example, be professional and respectful to all citizens, listen to their concerns, and be pragmatic in my decision making. I will observe and evaluate all sides in the discussions and come to the table with common sense, integrity, and honesty. Moose Jaw deserves leaders who are willing to stand up for what is right and what may not always be popular. Difficult decisions will have to be made at times, and Moose Jaw needs leaders in the council role who are truly acting in everyone's best interest for the good of the city. I can be that councillor for you. I've proven in the past that I can be that leader, and I will continue to be that leader if you give me the privilege of re-election. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dawn. And our last candidate in the first round is Kim Robinson. Your 3 minutes, again, I got this cable. I'm going to move the paper. So Kim, your 3 minutes start now.
Thank you, Lyle. Like the others, I'd like to thank the Kinsmen and the Chamber, and someone that hasn't been mentioned, but I suspect did a lot of the work, is Heather Bergdahl. I'd like to thank Heather for her work as well. My name is Kim Robinson, and I'm vying for a seat on our city council. I was born here in Moose Jaw, and after spending a couple of lengthy periods in British Columbia, I returned permanently in 2011. My wife, Tina, and 3 of 4 daughters, as well as 2 grandsons, a sister, and brother-in-law are all residents of our wonderful city. I'm formally educated in business management and accounting, recently completing a certification in public financial management. I categorize myself as an entrepreneurial type with experience in construction, property development, healthcare, and agriculture, predominantly in the financial and IT departments of these industries. My mother and father were self-employed business owners pretty much their entire adult lives. They worked very hard and sacrificed much for their 6 children. And I attribute my integrity, my work ethic, and my empathy for the underdog to the influence of my parents and my siblings. As a youth and continuing into my work life, I'm known as the person who will work to find a more timely and efficient method to complete a task. My father sometimes referred to that skill as laziness, but I, of course, would remind him that if necessity is the mother of invention, then laziness is indeed the father of innovation. I have many years of community volunteer and board member involvement, but like Jamie and Trevor said, not a heck of a lot of political involvement. I have been part of the executive with the food bank, hospice, the Wildlife Federation, and more recently with Pickleball Moose Jaw and Pickleball Saskatchewan at the provincial level. I'm currently chair of the Moose Jaw Parks Recreation and Facilities Advisory Committee, and I am presently employed with Federated Co-op as an accountant at the Belle Plaine ethanol plant. I remember a vibrant and active Moose Jaw when I was younger, and I would love to be part of a return to that economic liveliness and a robust, active city. I think we have reached a point of urgency now, and I believe we must try new and innovative approaches to breathe life back into our community. Much like Dawn said, the old tact of trying to bring a big business via subsidies just doesn't seem to pan out, and it carries the risk of big job loss. I think we are better served to support our existing businesses, help them with market share and issues such as that, and they in turn would have to hire people and increase our job base in that way. Basically help them build a better mousetrap and then increase job availability in our community.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, I have a question here that's been generated by the Kinsmen Club for you guys. It's different than the last one, and we're going to go in reverse order. So in fact, Kim, you're going to go first. The question is, pertaining to youth and retaining youth to Moose Jaw, as to have them choose Moose Jaw for their home, secondary education, and their career raising families. What would you tell a young adult if asked why they should stay in Moose Jaw? And the question has been put up on the screen, but I don't know that everybody can see that. But again, I'll try and read it better this time. Retaining youth to choose Moose Jaw as their home for gaining secondary education, career, and raising a family. What would you tell a young adult if asked why they should stay in Moose Jaw? And it'll be a 2-minute time limit for this response. Go ahead, Kim.
Well, I'm rather partial to Moose Jaw and moved back here after a stint in the Okanagan. So I think a lot of people don't realize how lucky we are with the city we're in. As far as secondary education, we have Sask Poly. I think we have a very safe community. I think the proper council, mayor and council could help stimulate some economic recovery here. And to me, it's the best city in the world. And like I said, this is my third residence here in Moose Jaw, so I can vouch. And I've always been a big cheerleader for our city.
Say that again.
Oh, Trevor, you're up for a 2-minute response to that question. Do you know? Have you seen the question?
Yeah, no, I've read it.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to continue. I've lived all over the province. I've been in Saskatoon, Regina. I kind of grew up in Regina. I was born in Swift-Current, so I've been all over the place. Moose Jaw is probably the safest and most vibrant place to raise children. The economic development that can happen in the city is unbelievable. I know we have CP, we have Mosaic, Belle Plaine, but safety, practicality, education-wise, Moose Jaw pretty much checks a lot of boxes. And I believe with progressive movement forward, we can create some more economic development to create some more jobs to keep people in this city. And that's kind of what I've always been striving for, is trying to grow the city to a point where our people don't leave, they stay. And anytime I'm selling a house or talking to anybody about Moose Jaw, it's really about being proactive about, it's a great community to raise a family and belong to. It's very friendly, very opening. We do have our problems, but we're moving forward with it. And I think with a progressive new administration and a mayor, we can move forward into better avenues.
Okay, thank you. Dawn, I've got you in the right order this time.
Thanks, Lyle. Great question. So my comments would be that I believe that we are in a very safe community as well. I mean, an example is that, you know, I run my dog every morning at 6 in the morning, and I am never worried about, you know, knock on wood, I'm never worried that anything's ever going to happen to me while I'm out there for an hour. And you know, it's pitch black right now, right? So it's a safe community. We're welcoming. We have great school systems, great parks and trails, lots of sports fields and activities for children and also for adults to participate in. And we've got a great local business community and, you know, and a great downtown. So, I mean, I think we have it all. I'm partial to Moose Jaw too. I mean, obviously that's why I'm running for city council, is because I believe in our city and I believe that we have, you know, so much to offer for young families that I would like, you know, sell Moose Jaw up and down to anybody that moves here. I mean, we just live in a great community and it's wonderful here, in my opinion. And we have lots more to offer, lots more to come.
And next we're going to have Jamie Logan. Jamie, over to you.
Lyle, thank you. And Don, thank you. If I'm running at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's usually from a dog, but so that's not really my thing. But I also find Moose Jaw very safe. Naturally, my kids were raised here. School, you had mentioned SIAS, proximity to the U of R. I mean, we could live here, stay here, and commute to the U of R. Parks and rec facilities, they're really taken off. The gentleman that's in charge now is doing a heck of a job. So I think our facilities, you know, we've got the skate park, we've got the skating, we've got the oval, all these great things for families to do. So that's super attractive. Cost of living is cheap. Moose Jaw is a cheap place to live, and people can complain and moan all they want, but look around the world and Moose Jaw is a very, very cheap place to live. Transportation, I mean, you can walk anywhere in the city, you ride your bike. There's great things about Moose Jaw. So I would certainly urge all families, young and old alike, to raise their families and have their family here in Moose Jaw. I think, and I really do think it's just gaining traction now. It's just going to get better. There's momentum from the last council. It's heading in the right direction. So let's keep that momentum going. Make Moose Jaw a great place to be and not just a great place to be from.
Thanks, Jamie. And our final respondent from this section, Jamal James.
You know, when I was in school, we used to always talk about staying here and raising families, and a lot of my students in my classes, they couldn't wait to get out of here. There was just nothing for them, and they were just disenfranchised with our city. And I think that we need to work to make this a place where they don't feel that way when they come out of high school, where they don't feel that they need to leave to find other opportunities. We have post-secondary education opportunities here. We have a great core business sector in Moose Jaw, but we need to do more to attract better paying jobs to this community. This community is very, very affordable, very attractive for raising a family. We don't have nearly the crime or the traffic issues that you see in bigger centers. And we're a half-hour drive away from a major center that presents employment opportunities. So I think we really, really need to promote that close proximity to Regina and also work hard to make this a place where they want to stay.
Okay, I'm going to give you a chance to go at the question from the other group again, with only 1 minute to respond. So first one up is the question is going to be, with the struggle we have seen within our community during the pandemic, what would be your roadmap to recovery for a recovery plan for the city of Moose Jaw? And our first person will be Jamal. You get to go again with that. Just 1 minute though. That's all you get to time. Thank you. Your minute starts now.
Our post-pandemic plan has to include rebuilding our jobs and supporting our small businesses in economic recovery. Whether that means not taxing them to death to make up lost money over the course of the pandemic, or whether that means doing the little things that they need to thrive in this community. We definitely have to support local business in everything that we do.
Jamie, the same question to you. With the struggles that we have seen within our own community during the pandemic, what would be your roadmap to recovery plan for the city of Moose Jaw? 1 minute now.
Well, I think, I'm not sure there's much of a roadmap out there. it's kind of like Google glitching. Nobody really knows how we're going to get through this or which direction we're going to take. I think we have to look back at our strategic plan that the current administration has put in place and do our best to follow that. We can't stray from that plan. The city has goals in mind and we have to stick to them. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to raise a bunch of taxes and do crazy things, but we have to stay the course. We can't have a knee-jerk reaction. And if we stay the course, I think the city will be fine. We'll come out the other side of this pandemic just fine.
Okay, thank you. Dawn, alphabetically and chronologically correct this time. You have 1 minute do you want me to repeat the question or are you okay with it? Okay.
No, I'm
You have
okay,
1 minute
Lyle,
now.
thanks. Thank you. So I too believe that supporting our local business is very important through this pandemic. But I also believe that we really don't know what we're facing. We don't know what's around the corner. I think technology is going to play a role in how we communicate with each other, how businesses do business. I touched on a little bit in my speech that we have to adapt in ways that there are some plans in the strategic plan for those kinds of things. And the longer this pandemic goes on, we have to continue to talk to our business community and to the residents and just, try our best to adapt to what needs to happen in this changing world.
Thank you. Trevor, your turn. You get 1 minute. Now, go.
I wouldn't say we already have a plan in place, but we've already kind of gone through it. We kind of have guidelines on what's happened. So I think by looking at what we've done or what we've missed in the first roundabout, or the first bout of this, is now to go back and correct those mistakes. There was transportation problems, there was food problems, there was housing problems. Learn from those, communicate from the user groups that are in contact with these types of individuals, the business people, and engage and try and get some more communication and involvement in the community to help these people along. I mean, the plan, and then talk to federal government and provincial government on getting some funding, tapping into those resources. But we do have kind of a guideline on where we not correctly move forward in this. And I think using that and just creating that as a breathing and living document moving forward, we can create a better positive outcome in all of this. We can get through it.
Thank you. And finally, this round, Kim.
Thank you. I wouldn't be in favor of tax increases. I think we have to look for innovative ways to increase our revenues rather than tax people, especially as we come out of this pandemic and people are hurting. As others have said, I would be in favor of supporting our local businesses. They've been hit the hardest. And look for support from our provincial government and somewhat from our federal government, but work closely with our provincial government. And as Trevor said, stay the course. And I believe that there will be an end to this at some point.
Okay. Thank you all for joining us this evening and stating your platforms. You've done an excellent job of that, and you're to be congratulated for that. And when you leave, I would like you to log out so that the next group of people can come in. So thank you very much, and best of luck on election day. Okay.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Tung, tung, tung. Wow. That was fast and that was good. And we've got our Group C joining us now, and they'll be coming into your visual screen as we get them to log in. So we have on this one, we have 5 people scheduled to be on, and just a reminder for them that you'll be given 3 minutes to introduce yourselves and state your platform. Then in reverse alphabetical order, we will come back to you and give you a chance to respond to a question that is being provided by the Kinsmen Club of Moose Jaw. And then if there's any questions or things that are being sent in on our chat line or on Facebook, we'll get a chance for you to respond to them in decreasing numbers of time. So right now we have 2 people, and you might get a lot of time, guys. So also, don't forget that Election Day is Monday, November 9th. And that's important to know. The polling stations are distributed. There's 3 in one place up at the exhibition grounds and 1 on South Hill. So there's only 4 places that you can vote. And so make sure you know which poll you're going to go to. You can download your registration form from the City of Moose Jaw website and do that ahead of time, because it just smooths out the process when you go to do your voting. Okay, I'm getting notes. Okay, from here, oh, there's 3 people. Well, that's good. Welcome, Nicholas. Wave.
Lyle, can you
Yes,
hear me?
I can, Stephen.
Just a heads up, I never got the questions from
That's okay. We didn't send them. I just
Okay, all right.
We're talking. It's like how quick can you think? Have you watched Whose Line Is It Anyway?
They actually had my wrong email address, so I had to actually go to the chamber to get the information today. So.
Well, that's no good.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well,
But you're here with us tonight, and we like
makes
that.
it interesting.
Yeah. So we have 2 more to come. I'm not sure that. Oh, there's Doug. And we're still waiting. We've had some technical difficulties contacting Dwayne St. Dennis, who's also running for this council. And so we're not sure that he's going to be able to join us or not, because he has had some issues with that in regards to that. So you're all checked out, Doug. You had someone going behind you while you're watching, and just make sure that you had everything good. That's all well done. I think so. What I'm going to do is start, and if Mr. St. Dennis is able to join us, then I'll make sure that we go along with him. But the first thing we're going to go through alphabetically is it will be Doug, Nicholas, Earl, and Stephen in that order, and you're given 3 minutes to explain who you are, a little bit about your history, and what your platform is in regards to this upcoming civic election. So, first up on the list, Doug Schick.
Can you hear me? I appreciate you guys putting this on, so we got people know what we're going up against. My name is Doug Schick. I've been a contractor in Moose Jaw for over 30 years. And I decided to run for council because I listened to a lot of people, the way council's running things, and we're always going backwards. And I figured if I could, make Moose Jaw move forward a little bit, take a little bit of time, and let's see if we can get something done, bring industry into Moose Jaw, so that we have the band city again. Like a lot of people forget about all these things that we used to have and stuff. And I don't, and I want to bring it back to Moose Jaw. And like my kids, they go to trade schools outside of Moose Jaw and stuff. Like they don't want to stay here because there's no industry. There's nothing for them when they get out of school. Well, that's got to change. I love this city. I plan on working hard for them and doing great things. And I just need a team that'll help me back this vision of mine. And I think it's possible because there's a lot of great people in Moose Jaw. And, the thing is, we don't have to increase taxes. We don't have to get rid of services and stuff like that. We just got to manage the money that we have right now. And I think it's really affordable that Moose Jaw is so cheap to live and stuff like that. You ever live in Calgary or something, you got to drive an hour to work all the time. Moose Jaw is pretty good. And it's a great little city. People pull together. I heard about one little kid getting into trouble in school because he was different. Well, Moose Jaw pulled together and helped him out really good. And, so that makes me proud of this city. And there's lots of things we can do to make us proud again. And I think we should just move forward 150%. Don't look back. Don't look what happened last year, the year before. We just want to push forward and make Moose Jaw great again. Because I love this city.
I know. Sorry, Nicholas. I don't know if I pronounce your name. Is it Stick? Is it pronounced Stick, Nicholas?
Stick.
Okay. So, Nicholas, you have 3 minutes to go, starting now. Stike? Sorry, Nicholas, I didn't hear that.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
Alrighty. just wanted to thank everybody for putting this on. Thank you, Lyle, for moderating this. Those of you, I'm Nicholas Stike. I haven't lived in Moose Jaw my entire life. I've moved here 3 years ago with my wife, and we just recently had a son. We've made Moose Jaw our home, and we love it here. And I always wanted to just be a part of making it better. We watch every day how things are always going backwards, and we're not. And here, we want to make the change, but if you don't do something, and how to do that. I'm not somebody with a ton of volunteer experience. I'm not somebody that's got tons of schooling under my belt, but I'm hardworking. I'm always true to everything that I do. I fight till the end, and I'm never going to stop. I want to be the voice of the citizens. I want to be everything that Moose Jaw stands for. I want to make this friendly city stand out and continue to be the friendly city.
Okay, well, thank you, Nicholas. Stike, I'll get it right. Earl Swalm, it's your turn to, your 3 minutes will begin now.
Thank you very much, Lyle, and thanks to the Moose Jaw Kinsmen for hosting this event. And good luck to everybody that put their names forth to represent the city. My name is Earl Swalm. I'm originally from a farm north of Kindersley, Saskatchewan, and came to Moose Jaw after traveling quite a bit, and finished an undergraduate degree from the University of Calgary. I met my wife in Moose Jaw, and we moved to Calgary for 7 years. But in 1998, we made Moose Jaw our permanent home when the opportunity to buy the Carpet One store from my stepfather-in-law presented itself. So I've done a lot of world travel. I've traveled to Newfoundland, Indonesia, Turkey. I taught English in Morocco for a year. I've been to Peru, England, Wales, Scotland, Argentina, and I've lived and worked in northern British Columbia, Toronto, and Montreal. Moose Jaw is a pretty good place after visiting all of those areas. We have a beautiful city. So what are my qualifications and platform? Well, over the last 20 years, I worked and owned Moose Jaw Carpet One Floor and Home, and I've recently sold this business and have time to dedicate to some city council business, if so elected. I've had a lot of experience on boards and councils, Carpet One Advisory Council for 4 years, guiding over 1,000 independent stores. I was on the Moose Jaw Construction Association for over 10 years. I was on the Saskatchewan Construction Association for 4 years. I was on the board and was the president of the Hillcrest Golf Club. And I've held all of the positions at the Moose Jaw Shrine Club, and right now I am the treasurer. If elected, I want to focus on modernizing the City Hall in terms of its communication software. I applaud the previous council on their start on this important initiative. There's still so much work to be done. And I believe communication software is an important infrastructure, just like streets and utilities. The public and the businesses of Moose Jaw will benefit if we can communicate efficiently and cohesively. The previous people were talking about having trouble getting business started. This could solve that. Also, I'd like to focus on economic development, just like everybody else says. With good business comes improved amenities for the public. And lastly, if elected, I would like to move that the City Council create a position for a youth member on council as a non-voting position. I feel that including our youth in decision-making process will help better develop politics in the city and provide a young perspective to the proceedings. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Earl. And last in the first round here is Stephen J. White with a new and correct email address. So Stephen, you have 3 minutes ready to go. Off you are.
Thank you, Lyle. And I'd like to be redundant like everybody else and thank the Chamber of Commerce and Kinsmen Club for putting this together. I think it's very important that not only do all the citizens have a voice, but they have an opportunity to get to learn a little bit about each and every one of us. I would also like to thank all the other candidates. The scrutiny that we go through as political candidates for our family, friends, and so forth it's gotten a little crazy these days. And for you to step up and put your name in this situation and want to be a part of this change in Moose Jaw, I think that is phenomenal, and I commend you all. As far as I go, my family and I moved here approximately almost 12 years ago now. We came to the city of Moose Jaw from a little old town in Allentown, Pennsylvania, a little ways away. And we immediately fell in love with the city. My wife was pregnant with our second child at the time. And the one thing we noticed about, you just walk up a city block and there's a park every other block. You could walk down the street and unlike Philly, you could actually get someone to give you directions or tell you somewhere to go. That was fantastic. It's the feeling of the beautiful parks, the friendly people, the excellent restaurants. It was just an overly welcoming feeling, and it really felt like home right from the beginning. My family is my strength. They give me the want and will to go and do things to make improvements for the city so that they have a fantastic future to look forward. My wife, Susie, and I have been married for almost 15 years now. I have two daughters, Leontia, 13, Evelyn, 11, and they are the reason why I do half the things I do. I get involved with their school in the SEC program, where I've been on the SEC board for 9 years and treasurer for the last 4. I got involved with my daughter's gymnastics club, and where I was a treasurer, and we were working on trying to get a new sports facility built in the city of Moose Jaw. I'm actively involved in the archery club because my daughter has been competing at national levels in 2 years, and I have to actually learn how to do the things so I can feel respectable because she makes me look bad. The real reason that I would like to be a representative today on council is that I want to see citizens have a voice again. I think that communications, like Earl talked about, is very important to making a community better. When the city is communicating with its citizens, when the citizens are able to communicate their wants and needs with the city, things can work cohesively and move forward and get to a better position. I think that the city has made great strides in this, in particular, where the communications has got out the recent polling about the Waccamaw Valley, when you heard the citizens' voice loud and clear. And
okay, sorry, Stephen, that's your time. And we're going to move on to the second round. Stephen, you get to talk again right away, so don't feel bad. But what's the question that's been placed in front of me here, and you have 2 minutes to respond, is what's the single biggest concern that you've personally heard when speaking to residents and business owners? Again, what's the single biggest concern that you personally have heard when speaking to residents and business owners? And Stephen, you get to go first. You have 2 minutes starting now.
Up until the other night when the Waccamaw Valley thing resolved itself by being withdrawn, that was the biggest topic I had honestly heard about and been through phone calls and emails and so forth. The other thing that I've heard about from talking to local businesses in the area is just a fear and concern of the unknown. Again, I think communications would do a great deal in resolving that. I feel that we're not being given enough details about really what's going on. I've done a lot of homework in talking to people in the industry, in the medical world and stuff like that to get information, and I try to communicate that with people. But I think the biggest issue is simply communicating so that we can get people over this fear of everything going on and get back to the normal lives that we need to be at. I think that would, one, help the economy because people would come back out of their houses and get back to normalcy. And two, it would help a lot of the mental stress that we're seeing right now. One of the biggest issues from this pandemic has been the stress that people have been under mentally and physically, which have driven up crime rates and also drug use. I think that if we can get back to communicating reality, letting people get back to their lives, that will help the economy and that will help a lot of the other issues that we're facing. get back to normalcy.
Thank you. Earl, your turn with the question. What's the single biggest concern that you personally had or heard from when speaking to residents and business owners? You have 2 minutes now.
Thanks, Lyle. I think we'd all be fooling ourselves if we wouldn't bring up the roads and problems with the roads. However, I've been traveling to many cities and towns in Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba over the last 2 years, and I think our road systems are as good, if not better, than a lot of other towns and cities. Is it a struggle? Yes. But the biggest concern that I've heard and what was brought up in the previous sessions was the communication again with City Hall, starting businesses. How do we develop a culture of saying yes, or we can do it, and as opposed to hurdles and roadblocks to get things operated, you go through the hoops. I would like to have that switched around to how can we help you. Not everybody can be successful at it, but let's bring that up. How can we help you? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just before we go on to the next person, I want to comment on Stephen's thing. It's never redundant to thank people like the Chamber of Commerce and the Kinsmen Club for making this opportunity possible. They've done an excellent job and are good corporate citizens. So they're all smiling sitting around me here, but I thought I'd better share that with you because I think that's important. So Nicholas, your turn to tell us about what's the biggest concern you've had expressed to you by residents and business owners. You have 2 minutes, Nicholas. You may begin.
All right. Thank you, Lyle. Definitely, I think we can all agree that the biggest concern up until a few days ago was definitely the Valley project. That was brought up quite a bit. Also with business owners, I know roadblocks at City Hall, communication has been just awful. There's been people that can't get in touch. They say they've tried and talked and there's no communication, and that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. Is we need communication. We need everybody to work together. We are the voice of the citizens. We need to be that voice. Definitely the roads have also come up quite a bit. They're not as bad as some places, definitely, but there's some spots that definitely you can lose a vehicle in. And yeah, that's mostly that. And also bullying, I've known, has been a big thing, issue that, like Doug brought up.
Oh, thanks very much, Nicholas. Yes, well done. Doug Schick, your turn to tell us about what you've been hearing.
Well, the biggest thing that concerns me is losing all our industry, all our good paying jobs. We got great roads right now. We got to look after the roads. We got to get the snow off them. We got to put a program together to get the snow off our roads. That's what wrecks the roads, freezing and thawing. Now the city's got to get together and we got to save all the industry that we have right now. When we lost big businesses, they didn't even look at the provincial government or federal government to see what they're going to give us back. And I'm a very assertive person. We'll get things done. We'll get business back into Moose Jaw. We'll all have flourishing businesses again. It'll cut back on personal property taxes and stuff. As long as we have big industry helping us back us up. And I'm looking forward to working with some really good people on council, and we'll get Moose Jaw rolling again. No more looking back. Let's look forward. Let's build this pavement road, and we'll get her done. And I'm here to do it for you.
Okay. Thank you, Doug. Now, what I'm going to say to you right now is that there's a chat box on the side of my screen which indicates information that has been typed in and questions have been typed in. And this will be like a 1 minute answer because we're nearing the end of our time. But Dr. Brandon Thorpe has said, and other people from previous sessions have already responded. I'm giving you guys the chance to respond as well. Can you all commit to respect each other on council? We are tired of the personality conflicts that have been there. Okay? So we're going to start again. Doug, you get to go first on this. You have 1 minute to respond to. Can you all commit to respect each other on council? We are tired of the personality conflicts.
I am willing to work with anybody that's willing to push Moose Jaw forward. I don't want to look backwards. I want to be proud if I get 4 years serving on council. I want to be proud of what I did for the last 4 years. I want you to say, he brought this in, he did this. No more looking back. Forward it is.
Thank you. And Nicholas Stike.
Yes, I definitely would work and respect anybody that I was working with on council. Everybody's going to have a different opinion, but that doesn't mean there can't be respect. That doesn't mean that you can't find a middle ground. There's always a middle ground. Everybody should be together perfectly fine and be able to come up with a solution that benefits everybody in Moose Jaw. Because Moose Jaw is our home. Let's keep it that way.
Okay. Earl, your thoughts on this?
Thanks, Lyle. Hey, and thank you, Brandon. Your questions are always good ones on Facebook, always. And just like you, Brandon, I think I bring to the table a good sense of humor. Many times when council business can get tedious, I would imagine, just like all my other board experience, there's business that needs to be looked after that's not sexy or glamorous, but it needs to get accomplished. And a lot of times the meetings go on for a few hours. So I'd like to think that I bring a sense of humor to the council that can lighten things up when need be. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And Stephen, your chance to wrap this session up.
Fantastic. That answer is easy. It's yes. Reason being is, one is I'm working for you. The other 5 city councilors, when we get elected, I'll be working for them too because they're taxpayers. And simple in life, you can learn as much from people that have differing opinions than yourselves as you can from people that have the same. The people with the same voices are just probably reiterating your own beliefs. If I want to actually go out and learn something, I'd have to learn from people that believe differently than I do. And that's the only way we can gain and grow. So plain and simple, I'm going to have to work with everybody because we're there to work for you. We're there to give you your voice. You're there to tell us your wants, your needs, and I'm there to help put it in place along with 5 other people. So I'll be glad to work across any party lines, as they like to say in politics, even though I'm not much of a politician.
Stephen, thank you very much. And to my candidates, again, we would like to apologize that we weren't able to have Dwight St. Dennis with us tonight because of technical issues for him. And but for the ones who took the time today to join us, thank you for putting your name forward. Thank you for participating in the forum today. Thank you for the questions that were asked by the people on the chat line and the input that you've given us for this ceremony. I want to thank the Kinsmen Club of Moose Jaw and the Moose Jaw Chamber for giving me the opportunity to join in and learn about these candidates. Because some of these guys, surprising it may be, I haven't met before, but now I have a better idea of where they fit in my world. So don't forget, vote on Monday, November 9th, 2020. Check out the City of Moose Jaw website. It'll tell you which polling station you go to. There are 3 at the exhibition grounds, 1 at St. Mary's Church for Ladies, on South Hill. Those are the 4 sites that everybody must go to. Take your identification with you and have your registration if you can. Download it and fill it in. So it just makes the process go better. Thanks again to the audience for watching us. Thanks to Chamber for being hosting us tonight. And thanks to all the people who are here. So that wraps it up. And I want to say thank you again and good voting.
Thanks, Lyle.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks,
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, guys. Good luck, everybody.